Unanisikia? Well, good evening and welcome to Newswatch on this 19th day of November 2020. My name is TERESIA NJENGA and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Thank you for choosing Hope TV, where you look and live. Let us begin. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi has welcomed the postponement of the Building Bridges Initiative Signatures election drive, saying more time is needed to resolve contentious issues in the BBI report. Mudavadi has been supporting the Building Bridges Initiative at a low profile since he felt the document has some errors which need to be amended, citing the proposal to reduce the powers of the Senate. Our reporter Alice Diana begins our bulletin with that story.
The postponement of the BBI signature collection exercise by the BBI Secretariat has been welcomed by the Amani National Congress ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi. ODM party leader Raila Odinga, who is a co-convener of the initiative, had announced plans to begin collection of signatures on Tuesday and later Thursday this week, saying he would jointly launch the exercise with President Uhuru Kenyatta. The drive was, however, postponed on Wednesday night over the delayed publication of the Constitution Amendment Bill.
Perhaps this is some kind of divine intervention, which gives Kenyans room to quickly close ranks on the areas that were extremely contentious.
Just like Deputy President William Ruto and a section of Kenyans, Mudavadi had called for a consensus on the BBI, saying it is the way forward after championing for deeper stakeholder engagement on grey areas that have been pointed out. As ANC, he noted that they are aware that they may never have the perfect document but can have one that works for the majority of Kenyans, noting that he had planned to look for President Uhuru Kenyatta and ask him to open a window so that more ideas are channeled to the report.
If we build consensus so that we can minimize what you call high-octane political activity around the issues of the BBI and possible debates that will ensue around it, it will be very good for the Kenyan people. Because if we can all win by having a non-contested referendum where we have brought all our issues together, we will spend less and the lives of our people will be safer.
According to the former Deputy Prime Minister, referendum is not synonymous with the general elections, since once the referendum is over, whichever way it goes, the political formations will then be seen after. He further accused politicians of being an impediment in the fight against COVID-19, saying they overlooked health guidelines by holding political rallies countrywide.
You remember when we had a COVID conference at KICC, I did indicate that where are the fault lines in this fight against COVID? And it came out that politicians seem to be ranking very highly as one of the fault lines in the fight against COVID. Perhaps they may be the weakest link, because what has been happening is that politicians have moved around going about their business as if everything is normal.
For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
And Kisumu journalists have condemned an attack on 2 journalists by one of the bodyguards belonging to Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha. The bodyguard is accused of sexually harassing a People Daily photographer Viola Kosome and Nations Media Ondari Ogega. Magoha was inspecting desks delivered at Kosovo Primary School with journalists arriving to cover the function. According to the Kisumu Journalist Network chairman Rashdi Odia, Ondari accidentally bumped into the said officer whose identity is not known and even apologized. And less than a week after a group of youth leaders in Mwingi called for the creation of Mwingi County under the BBI report, some of the residents have held peaceful protests demanding the same. They have called on President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to ensure that Mwingi, which is Kitui County, is made a county to save residents from traveling long distances to get services in Kitui if they are to support BBI.
Mwingi County! Mwingi County! Mwingi County!
Tumesoma BBI kama wakaaji wa Mwingi na watu wa Mwingi na watu wa Kitui County. Katika BBI hatujaona faida yoyote yenye itakuja Kitui County. Katika BBI tumeona faida imepelekwa mahali kwingine. Katika BBI hakuna kitu tumeona tumeletewa. Sasa sisi hiyo msichana wao anatuuzia wanaita BBI na sisi tuko na msichana yetu ya exchange. Anaitwa aje? Anaitwa Mwingi County. Msichana yetu anaitwa Mwingi County. Na bila Mwingi County sisi hatuasikizana na BBI.
And our cry is only one. We want Mwingi County.
Yes.
The people of Mwingi deserve to have a devolution unit that is functioning. There should be money flowing in to help these people fight their perennial problems of water shortages and poverty. Without that, we are not going to agree with the BBI process.
Yes.
Hakuna siku hata moja watu wa Mwingi, the Lanja Mwingi, ambayo kuna 3 constituencies na 7 sub-counties, hakuna siku hata moja tutasupport BBI mpaka ile siku tutapewa Mwingi County.
Yes.
Na tunachangaa sana kwa sababu wakati tulikuwa Kitui tulikuwa na viongozi wetu, na kiongozi wetu mkubwa Kalonzo Musyoka ndio alipeana proposal na akatuambia ndani yake wameweka Mwingi County, na wakati imetoka hakuna Mwingi County, na yeye anatuambia tu support BBI na asemi kitu kuhusu Mwingi County.
Now, Kiambu Town MP Jude Njomo has raised concerns over the huge number of orphaned children in his constituency that are often locked out whenever they try to access government services. He said many orphans in Kiambu County have failed to secure identification cards and passports to secure employment, as they are asked to produce either ID cards or death certificates of their parents. The lawmaker has now urged the Ministry of Interior and Coordination through the Immigration Services to consider such children and find a way to streamline provision of government services to all orphans across the country.
Kwako kuitikia kukuja hapa. Birth certificate pekee ni shida kubwa sana, especially kama huyo mtoto hajalelewa kwa children's home, pengine ni mtu ambaye amejitolea kulea hawa watoto. Wanapata shida sana kupata basic documents. Na hata kabla hatujaenda kutengeneza sheria, I think we need a policy to know hawa watoto watasaidika namna gani. Right now I'm having children ambao wamepata kazi nje ya nchi na wanatakiwa kuwa na passport, lakini kupata passport hawajui wazazi. Anaitishwa death certificate ya mzazi ili aweze kupewa passport. Anaambia mtu wa passport, mimi hata sijui kama mzazi wangu ako hai au amekufa kwa sababu hata simjui. So sasa ukinitisha death certificate, unless nienda niue mtu niseme huyo ndio alikuwa mzazi yangu, sijui. So maybe we need a policy of how watoto hao wanaweza saidika ili waweze kupata birth certificate, waweze kupata passport, ili na wao pia wasisikie kama wako discriminated.
Huko Gatundu pia, I think the county commissioner is aware, kupitia kwa CDF tumejenga the first ever child protection unit in Gatundu police station, kwa sababu tunapata watoto ambao ni underage wanawekwa cell moja na hardcore criminals, na hiyo sio mzuri. So bwana county commissioner, I hope utaalika waziri akuja tufungue, because it's something we are very proud of, to protect our children, because hata kama wamefanya makosa, they are still children and they still our children, and it's something we are very proud to have a unit really that is able to segregate hardcore criminals and others.
Hao watoto ambao wako na shida ya kupata passport, nataka nipate information sahi tuwapatie passport. They are Kenyans. Kama, I mean, life is what it is. We shouldn't push those people to a point of saying it, oh, you know, produce your grandfather and your other grandfather and so on before we can give you a passport. They are Kenyans, wanajulikana. Tuwape passport. Hiyo ndio kazi yetu. And my colleague, the principal administrative secretary is here, Bwana Kangi. Tutafuatilia hiyo kuanzia sasa. Mheshimiwa Judy Jomo, tushirikiane, then we sort those children out.
A standard 6 pupil at Malindi School, Kilifi County, is nursing a gunshot wound after police officers opened fire at the residents of Furunzi area in an eviction exercise that turned violent. The pupil at Maziwani Primary School was shot on the calf of the leg as he fled the officers who were allegedly assisting an Asian businessman to evict the residents, most of whom have put up permanent structures on the disputed land. Malindi Sub-County Police Commander Joe Lekuta confirmed the Wednesday afternoon incident, but said the residents provoked the situation since the officers were there on official duties. At the Malindi Sub-County Hospital where the boy was rushed to, a doctor literally chased away reporters who wanted to take pictures of the youngster and interview his mother.
Kujificha sasa ndio tuko na gari za polisi. Moja imekuja mbio, ikaenda kumficha huyo muhindi pale. Wakakaa pale wakaanza kufyetua marisasi. Tena wafyetui juu, wana aim hivi. Watu wakatawanyika. Mara ya kwanza walipiga risasi 3. Watu wakatawanyika. Mara ya pili wakafyetua tena zingine venye gari ya pili ilikuja. Mimi nilikuwa pale ndani dukani naona venye wanafanya. Wanafyetua hivi direct, not up. Wafyetui juu, wanafyetua hivi direct.
Baka tulipofika hawakutaka kujua. Sasa vijana wengi walikuwa wanakimbia huku hivi. Ikabidi wakamshoot hivyo na kuumia mguu. Kijana hata alikuwa ametoka shule for lunch amekuja kukula ndio akaja kupata hiyo hasara hiyo.
Let us take a short commercial break. COVID-19 update among other news are on the way, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Rafiki Gardens along Kangundo Road by Optiven. This is an ideal and affordable piece of investment that is strategically placed within the Nairobi metropolis. Rafiki Gardens is close to key social amenities like schools, banks and shopping malls. This project comes with ready title deeds, maram roads and a marking fence round the property. Get a plot at only 695,000 Kenya shillings cash price. You can also pay a 50% deposit and pay the rest in 6 months installments. Call us today on 0702 8310 83 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Nasongea mbele zako Baba.
Tunakuletea burudani safi kutoka wanamuziki wa nyimbo za sifa na ibada, mahojiano ya moja kwa moja na mafunzo ya hali ya juu.
Dhamira ya mtu ikifa anaweza fanya anything because kile kinanitofautisha na mbuzi ni dhamira.
There was this time niliambia Mungu, mimi samahani Mungu, lakini naona umenifanya mimi kuwa daraja. Sitaki.
Ni ni mahali pa uchipuzi na ulezi wa vipaji.
Mwimbaji anaweza itisha akitaka, lakini unajua hiyo ni sauti
hajanunua.
Hujanunua, hiyo ni umebarikiwa nayo. So hiyo unaweza mupeane aidha bure ama. Lakini hii pande nyingine sisi tumeinvest, ni investment ona.
Tunabeba mwili, lakini mimi sikujua hii ni maagano nafanya.
Ungana naye Mwalimu Shaban Brima kila Ijumaa saa 2 jioni na marudio kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni.
Machozi ya furaha nishangaze baba, kwa ushuhuda wangu watambua wewe ni Mungu.
Welcome back. Turning to COVID-19 updates today, 1,459 more people tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours from a sample size of 10,146, with cumulative tests now at 815,040. Total number of confirmed positive cases in the country is 74,147. From the new cases, 1,419 are Kenyans, while 40 are foreigners. 835 are male and 624 are female. According to a statement from Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, 780 patients have recovered from the disease, 690 from the home-based care program, while 90 have been discharged from various hospitals. The total recoveries now stand at 50,658. Unfortunately, 17 more people have succumbed to COVID-19, bringing the total number of fatalities to 1,330. Distribution of the cases for the top 10 counties is as follows: Nairobi 472, Kiambu 311, Mombasa 108, Laikipia 63, Uasin Gishu 53, Busia 49, Kisumu 48, Meru 43, Nakuru 36, and Kericho 33. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has reiterated government's commitment to the modernization of the country's security apparatus. The president said despite competing national interests, including the fight against COVID-19, the government will continue investing in equipment, technology, and taming to ensure the effectiveness of the police and other security agencies. The head of state spoke at the Border Police Unit BPU headquarters and training campus at Kanyonyo in Kitui County, where he officially launched several infrastructure projects, among them new lecture halls and barracks, integrated communication center, and 60 staff houses. Patroba Ojwang reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that his administration recognizes the importance of security in the realization of peace and sustainable social-economic development. Kenyatta was at the Border Police Unit BPU headquarters and training campus at Kanyonyo in Kitui County, where he officially launched several infrastructure projects, including new lecture halls and barracks, integrated community center, and 60 staff houses. He also inspected the ongoing construction of a modern hospital and flagged off a fleet of 35 patrol vehicles donated by the United States government to beef up Kenya's anti-terrorism efforts.
So I therefore urge you all to continue with the proud tradition of utumishi kwa wote as you serve our nation. Do so with utmost integrity, selflessness, dedication to duty, diligence, and unfailing commitment to the law. I also urge the various uniformed and disciplined services in our country to deepen their cooperation in pursuit of the shared goal of a better and safer Kenya for all. In doing so, we must remember that the community involvement is critical to mission success. Officers in the security sector must cultivate a community-friendly image, be courteous, and be approachable, and be the embodiments of the highest standards and ideals.
Once again, the president hailed the multi-agency approach to the management of the country's security and congratulated BPU for synergizing with other security and border control agencies to significantly lower incidents of cross-border insecurity.
I have on numerous occasions reiterated my government's commitment to enhancing the capacity and capability of our security agencies, particularly the police. We understand that in a dynamic operating environment characterized by emerging asymmetrical threats, investment in modern technology and cutting-edge training is instrumental for 21st century law enforcement. We also recognize that our security agencies must act in a coordinated and harmonious fashion in order to be effective. And it is for this reason that under my administration, the security sector has witnessed greater synergy and greater usage.
On the welfare of police officers, the president said the government continues to implement initiatives aimed at improving their working and living conditions, among them the expanded medical and housing schemes, and challenged the security sector to collaborate more with the public in the fight against crime in order to attain greater success.
So my government will therefore continue to upgrade the facilities and amenities committed to you as part of our transformative reform agenda for the security sector. Indeed, just this morning we sat in the National Security Council and we approved for additional equipment, especially to our special units like yourselves, for body armor, for vehicles, for weaponry, to ensure that you are able to execute your mandate with the best available equipment being made available.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i thanked the president for the government's enhanced investment in the security sector.
Your Excellency, you don't just come to our functions perfunctorily just to do a touch and go. I have been witness to how you spend hours on end focusing on matter security and how you pay attention to the minutest detail on the things that we do in the security sector. Your Excellency, I want to assure you, sir, that we will strictly follow the instructions you have given us, that we use the resources that the people of Kenya have entrusted the government with in an effective manner. And some of the things that have happened in this institution are evidence, Your Excellency, that we are following the line that you have drawn for us, that we use the meager resources we have responsibly.
Other speakers at the event, attended by Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi, and Interior CAS Hussein Dado, among other senior government officials, were Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutiambai and the U.S. Regional Counterterrorism Coordinator Mark Jackson. Patroba Ojwang, Hope TV Newswatch.
Now, in the latest census report released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, there are about 0.9 million persons living with disability, and only 179,492 live in urban areas. Now, most of the physically challenged people find it hard to thrive in life due to their status. However, a few of them go the extra mile to survive in the competitive society. In our news feature tonight with Mark Kimondo, we bring you the story of 40-year-old Simon Geshia, a physically challenged person who, through the support of her mother, Mary Wamboi, and well-wishers, has started a small initiative that earns him a living. Let's take a look.
Our journey begins at Valley Road, Nairobi. Navigating through heavy Nairobi city traffic, we are on our way to Kiamaiko in Mathare constituency in search of Simon Geshia, a physically challenged 40-year-old man who has gone beyond the expectations of many. According to census that was conducted in Kenya last year, there are about 900,000 people who live with some form of disabilities. Now, most of them are jobless due to their nature, except a few who were lucky enough to secure employment into the job industry. After a 40 minutes ride, we arrive at the notorious street of Kiamaiko, where everyone is trying to make ends meet. Walking through the slums of Kiamaiko gives you a chance to experience the hustle of low-income earners in the informal settlement.
Very well. Salama sana. Joel, fiti sana. Niaje?
Finally, I meet 40-year-old Simon Gishia in his simple kiosk with her mother seated just behind him. Gishia cannot walk or audibly speak, but this does not pin his spirits down, a trait exhibited in his zeal, energy, and a desire to engage people and earn a coin or two through his artwork. Gishia was born in 1978. However, his condition after birth almost left her mother hopeless in life.
I gave birth to Gishia back in 1978, but I didn't give birth to him normally. At Gewa Hospital, together with Gishia, we were admitted at the hospital, then later referred to Kiambu Hospital. However, for 3 days, Gishia did not cry, breastfeed, or sleep. After a month, Gishia was taken to a nursery till after he cried.
Mary is now a widow. Her husband died many years back, leaving her with no viable or dependable investment.
I went through hardships raising Gishia and her younger sister Gashuka I raised as twins. If it weren't the love of the mother to the children, I couldn't have raised Gishia, but I knew it's God who blessed me with Gishia.
At the mark of every dawn is a new beginning for Mary to put a smile on the face of her son. Sitting in his wheelchair at the gate of Sunflower Primary School in Kiamaiko, he operates a simple weighing scale that earns him some income, albeit meager, at the end of the day.
I knew Oasis wanted to support me, so I accepted their idea. They gave him a job and a wheelchair. Since Oasis came, I have seen the hand of God.
This machine was his life-changing gift, which he received from Oasis Dynamo, a CBO that has been working to solve the plight of the needy in the informal settlements of Nairobi.
The journey has not been that easy. It has been a process, because at first understanding him and also letting him to understand us and be friends with him first, so that we can make that friendship and be able now to mentor him and start something that can be of benefit and also support him was not easy.
Oasis Dynamo CBO Director Joel Agolo, and one of the people behind this good job, says that his organization is currently working with 70 other groups to assist those in dire need.
We are currently working with 70 groups within Nairobi, and we are not only focused on the disabled. We work with, we also have 5 groups in Busia, and our main focus is to help them come out, be able to sustain their own lives. Currently, what we are doing with them, like when we meet as a group, we give first priority to members of the organization, and then second priority to someone who is linked or connected with a group. Like Geshire, we were referred by a group that is based in Mathare North, and when we came and saw him, we saw the needs that he had. He needed a wheelchair, and he needed a business to keep him going, and he also had a weighing scale. So our plan was to empower him, to see him move from where he was to make it better.
There is a brighter future to imagine now that Gishia is able to make an income unlike before. Gishia is now an inspiration to many, with his life remaining a mirror of encouragement that disability is not inability.
Now, truly, disability is not inability, and success begins in the very mind of a person. Mark Kimondo for Hope TV, Kiamaiko in Mathare constituency, Nairobi.
Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has written an open letter to Kenyans saying the agency will only be guaranteed if it is shielded from politically induced pressure, contrary to what the Building Bridges Initiative report is proposing. Chairman Wafula Chebukati said it is essential that any reform process of Kenya's electoral regime fortifies an independence and integrity of the elections from political interference by eliminating rather than reinforcing the influence of the political class. BBI has proposed several amendments to the IEBC, including allowing political parties to appoint commissioners who will only serve on a 3-year contract. Dickens Luvanda reports.
My brother William hapa amepinduka anakimbia nyuma.
BBI's proposed amendments on the formation of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) continues to give the Commission's chairman Wafula Chebukati sleepless nights, this time forcing him to publish an open letter to Kenyans crying foul. If the current BBI proposals are implemented through a referendum, Chebukati said electoral disputes will likely occur in 2022 after the general elections. BBI proposes that IEBC's management structure be reconstituted.
And I just want to tell Kenyans that those names are there.
With the recruitment of a new chairperson, commissioners and a freshly vetted secretariat ahead of the 2022 general election, with political parties being allowed to nominate commissioners. In the open letter published on Wednesday, Chebukati said the IEBC should be granted operational and financial autonomy and maintain a permanent competent staff and a secretariat on a long-term basis and not on a 3-year contract as BBI suggests. BBI suggestions mean that every election will likely have a new IEBC team. According to Chebukati, the security of tenure of the commissioners should also be secured and the electoral reforms policy and legislation be finalized at least 2 years before the elections.
Ethnic and regional inequalities.
Earlier, Chebukati had warned that the BBI report closed back on the gains made over the years on electoral management in Kenya, adding that such campaigns weaken and interfere with the independence of the commission. Already, the BBI Secretariat, led by co-chairs Dennis Waweru and Junet Mohammed, has shelved the BBI 1 million signature collection exercise that was slated for Thursday, October 19th, citing delayed publication of the Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 that was scheduled for publication on Wednesday night. However, reports say a 3-hour State House meeting between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto saw the signature collection exercise postponed so as to give room for talks on how best issues raised by religious leaders, the Council of Governors, and the County Assemblies Forum can be incorporated in the report before a referendum is held.
Those are the issues.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV News Watch.
The dispute between sand harvesters and Kidong ranch owners in Maimahiu, Naivasha sub-county has been resolved after Governor Lee Kinyanjui held a meeting with representatives of the sand harvesters and directors of Kidong Ranch. The dispute, according to Governor Lee, was on double charges imposed on sand harvesters, and now Kidong Ranch owners have agreed to reduce charges per lorry ferrying sand, and the same will be formalized through a signed agreement. The meeting also attended by Nakuru County Commissioner Erastus Mbui, County Police Commissioner Tito Kilonzi, and Maimahiu's MCA Stephen Ng'ethe resolved to form a liaison committee.
Mchanga ambao unatumika kujenga mji mkuu wa Nairobi, 70% inatoka hapa Maimahiu. Na hivyo basi eneo hili linachangia pakubwa sana. Vijana ambao wanaajiriwa kupitia biashara hii ni zaidi ya 8,000. Na hivyo basi tungetaka kuhakikisha kwamba biashara inaendelea vizuri kwa njia taratibu na pia kwa njia ambayo itaweza kuendelea hata kwa miaka ambayo inakuja. Kwa hivyo tutaweka mipangilio ya kuhakikisha kwamba wale wote ambao wanahusika katika hii biashara wamefanya kwa njia ambaye inatambulika kisheria, na ndiposa tukasema pia tungetaka kuwe na mkataba baina ya wenye mashamba na pia na wale ambao wanafanya hiyo biashara. Tumesema tutakuwa na kamati ambayo itakuwa ni kamati ya kudumu ya kuleta maelewano, a liaison committee, ili mambo, manake katika kila biashara wakati mwingine kuna shida kidogo ama nyingine, kuwe na wale ambao wameteuliwa ili tusije kuhudhuria mambo kama yale tuliona wiki jana ya barabara kufungwa, kupoteza mali na pia biashara kuharibiwa kwa sababu ya kutoelewana.
Nyandarua County Executive Committee member for roads Mary Mugwanja has appealed to the national government to allocate 300 kilometers more of tarmac as the residents lauded the president for the already tendered and gazetted roads. Mugwanja said an additional 50 kilometers of town roads had been lobbied through the World Bank's Kenya Urban Support Program by the county government to back up the 475 kilometers being done by the national government. She said that the envisaged 475 kilometers to be done in 3 years will go a long way in ensuring timely and cost-effective delivery of fresh produce to the markets, with farmers enjoying better prices.
We have requested for extra 300 kilometers through His Excellency the Governor to the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, if he can be able to give us 300 additional kilometers. It means we'll have a total of 1,000 kilometers within 3 years. We are also aware that His Excellency the Governor is working very closely with World Bank through the Kenya Urban Support Program for us to for this program to be expanded to other urban centers, which are Oljororok, Mairenya, Kasuku, Mirangine, Miharati, Donyonjeru, Engineer, Jabini, Kwaharaka, and Daragwa. These are a total of 10 towns that are required to be upgraded, and if you are to give an average of 5 kilometers per town, it means we will get 50 additional tarmac kilometers.
Itaweza kupanua uchumi wa hapa kwa sababu sasa transportation ya vitu za retail za maduka ndogo ndogo ambayo tunafanya biashara hapa kwetu itakuwa chini kidogo. Cost kitambo ilikuwa mingi kwa sababu tulikuwa tunazunguka ile ingine ya Subukia kwenda hivyo Kambazi, lakini kwa sasa tutakuwa tunaipata kwa njia rahisi na tutakuwa ikitufikia kwa muda unaofaa.
Kama ni hali ya kubeba viazi, na sasa unaona mkulima huwa anaendea viazi na pikipiki ama na tingatinga. Sasa unaona hiyo malipo ya mkulima inakuwa kidogo. Sasa ikiweza kuwa lori inaweza ingia huko ndani, itatufikia vizuri na mkulima atakuwa na bei nzuri ya kufikiwa na viazi.
Hapo mbele nilikuwa napitia mashida kwa sababu ya hii barabara. Tumepata iko na mashimo mingi sana, hatuwezi fika mahali tunaenda haraka, na pia inachangia sana sisi kama watu pikipiki zetu zinaharibika sana. Na tutafurahia sana tukitengeneza hii barabara, sisi tupate kazi zetu zikienda mzuri.
Across borders in Uganda, tension remains high as police report that the death toll has risen to 7. Many have been injured as police fired tear gas and live bullets in Uganda's capital, Kampala, and across other cities to disperse people protesting against the arrest of Ugandan presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, better known as Bobi Wine. Wine was arrested yesterday ahead of his campaign rally in Luka district and accused of having more than 200 supporters at the rally, contrary to the electoral agency's guidelines. Graphic videos and photos shared on social media showed several people lying in the streets covered in blood, allegedly shot dead. A Ugandan Red Cross statement said that their frontline workers had assisted 11 people with gunshot wounds. Meanwhile, opposition presidential candidates have suspended their campaigns, calling for fellow contestants to be released. Retired Army Generals Mugisha Muntu and Henry Tumakunde also demanded that police stop violence against candidates and the public. And in Ethiopia, fears of civilian casualties and a refugee crisis are growing as the government enters what it calls its final phase against rebels in the northern region of Tigray. The region's leadership has called on everyone to fight back. However, the UN Refugee Agency representative for Sudan, Axel Bishop, says that tens of thousands of people have fled to Sudan, saying that it was too dangerous to live there. We take another short break. We will be back with business and sports news, so keep it Hope TV.
Dunia ni mali ya Bwana na vyote vijazavyo.
Nguruwe ni mali ya Bwana au?
Ni mali ya Bwana.
Bata ni mali ya Bwana?
Ni mali.
Wewe kula basi. Acha mambo mengi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Muislamu yoyote ambaye anamkataa Yesu, kwanza sisi tunamjua ni kafiri.
Bila huyu Yesu, mtu aendi kwa Baba.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Je, kuna ushahidi wowote Muhammad aliwahi na Qur'ani? Na hii Qur'ani muliitoa wapi? Halo?
Piga simu moja kwa moja na pia uchangie kupitia SMS na Facebook.
Itawezekana kitabu cha Biblia ambaye mnakiamini kuwa ni kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu ishindwe kumtabiri mtu ambaye ana wafuasi zaidi ya bilioni 100 duniani.
Je, Muhammad amekufa ama yuko hai?
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
Wake up every morning with refreshing worship playlists. So come we're ready for your presence. And powerful nuggets of God's word.
His mercies begin afresh each morning.
We had press from every side, but we are not crushed.
Right place. We desire to be in the sweet space.
The place of praising, the place of singing lips.
Only on Hope Devotion.
Thank you for keeping it Hope TV. On business news, UNICEF Kenya and Safaricom have announced a new partnership to help Kenyan children in a range of areas, including education, child protection, and emergencies. The new partners have pledged to work together to ensure children, especially the poorest and most marginalized, can access the internet at school, are protected from violence and abuse, and receiving life-saving information during droughts, floods, and disease outbreaks such as COVID-19. Speaking during the partnership, UNICEF Kenya Deputy Representative Jean Lokenga said they are working together. They can drive transformational change for children and their families and collectively deliver results that benefit communities across the country.
For our future. Of course, the second part of this MOU looks at the access.
We still have a long way to go before we can feel safe in the knowledge that children are having all of their rights realized. We cannot achieve any of the SDGs if we don't promote partnerships and cooperation. It is in this spirit that we today announce a new partnership that brings together two of Kenya's best-known organizations. UNICEF Kenya and Safaricom began partnership in 2014 following the launch of the Children's Rights and Business Principles, a set of practical tools to help business promote corporate social responsibility around child rights.
We also need to educate young internet users about how to be safe while online, teaching them to respect each other on the internet and how to identify instances of online child abuse and encouraging them to report these instances as early as possible. We also need to teach them how to deal with cyberbullying, reassuring them that they are not responsible for the action of bullies, that their feelings of fear and vulnerability are valid, and most importantly, that they can overcome the bullying.
not just here in Kenya, but to the children across the African region.
And in sports, former Harambee Stars head coach Francis Kimanzi has been appointed as the new Wazito FC tactician ahead of the 2020-2021 Football Kenya Federation FKF Premier League campaign. This comes in the wake of sacking of head coach Fred Ambani, assistant coach Babu Salim, and goalkeeper trainer Elias Otieno last week. Elsewhere, Belgium last night secured their place at the Nations League finals with victory against Denmark. This as England secured a 4-2 win over Iceland at Wembley. But it was not enough to help them secure a semi-final slot in the UEFA Nations League.
Immediate former Harambee Stars head coach Francis Kimanzi has today been unveiled as the new Wazito head coach ahead of the new season that is expected to kick off in a week's time. The former Mathare United and Tusker FC head coach will be assisted by the former Kenya Under-20 head coach John Kamau, who also served as the Harambee Stars assistant head coach. Kimanzi was recently the national soccer team Harambee Stars head coach before leaving the role on mutual consent last month, while Kamau has previously handled Thika United, Posta Rangers, KCB and FC Talanta.
But as you know, it wasn't a new and easy decision because it's always very difficult because of the culture of the club and what I need as an individual. But at least after 1 or 2 weeks of trying to get things together, we managed to come in, as one team in a full agreement with a common objective. So I'm very honored again, and more that I'm also in one of my favorite jerseys is yellow, for some reasons that I don't want to get into details. So every time I think when I'm in a yellow and black jersey, I always feel so much at home, and I'm more successful when I'm in yellow and black. And the history speaks, for itself on that part. But I'm also so happy that I managed to pull together a very capable technical support team to help me to better, the achievement and the objective of the Wazito Football Club.
To some UEFA League of Nations, and Belgium finalized a spot in the 2020-2021 UEFA Nations League semi-final by smashing Denmark at King Power Stadion at Den Haag. Inter Milan and former Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku scored a brace, while Leicester City's Yoli Telemann and Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne added a goal each. Elsewhere, in what was a dead rubber match after their loss to Belgium early in the week, England young squad did their business in some style, going 2-0 ahead in just 24 minutes with West Ham's Declan Rice and Chelsea's Mason Mount's goals. Manchester City's Phil Foden killed the contest with a late brace with 2 goals on the 82nd and 84th minutes. The results mean Europeans heavyweight Belgium, France, Italy and Spain will form the 2020-2021 UEFA League of Nations semi-finals fixtures. Well, that's your sports. I'm Joseph Maingi.
And it's a wrap here on Newswatch tonight. Thank you for watching. I have been your host, Anchor TERESIA NJENGA, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. See you tomorrow at 9 p.m. God willing. In the meantime, have a good night and God bless you.